Two planes are about to take off from Newark, and they're headed down to Singapore. One of, if not the longest flight on the planet. The first plane taking off has an enlightened air traffic control person. He's tasted the apple, he knows the knowledge, and he's living it, he's experiencing it, he's on the top of the mountain. The second plane has a unenlightened air traffic control. He can intellectually describe what an apple tastes like, but he has not experienced it. He's not there just yet. But man, he sounds good. He's charismatic. He went to college. He's got a lot of followers, and he sounds good, but he's just not there. Both planes take off. Everything's good. Both are Boeing planes. Both are great captains. Both have all the passengers, 300-400 passengers. Everything's perfect. Everything's fine. Both planes are going to make it, wherever they're going to. First plane, good to go. He's listening to air traffic control the whole time. He ends up in Singapore 18 hours later, tired as can be, but at Singapore. Guided him perfectly. The second plane has been going back and forth with his air traffic control guy, and things are just a tad bit off. Things are just slightly off. They sound really good. All the instructions sound incredible. And the air traffic control guy is charismatic. He really sounds intelligent. I mean, he went to college. This is what he does. This is, he even wrote a book about air traffic control. He's been speaking about air traffic control. He's got tons of followers on all the social media platforms about what air traffic control should be and what it shouldn't be. And he and the second plane are going back and forth. And every time they communicate, it's just a little bit off. They're just missing just a tiny bit. Just a fraction of a degree off. Just every time they communicate, every time he reads a book, every time they're talking about getting to Singapore, everything they're communicating back for, it's just a little bit off. Because that guy has not tasted the apple. He's not sitting in truth. He can intellectually describe it all day long. He can talk about the top of the mountain. He can talk about enlightenment, but he's not there. He's not sitting there. He's not fully experienced it. He's not fully abiding in it. And so this 18-hour flight keeps going. Again, the longest flight on the planet. And the pilot and the air traffic control keep going back. And the pilot's trusting air traffic control. Because again, he went to college. He sounds good. And 18 hours later, the guy ends up in Russia. That second plane ends up in Russia. Just a fraction of a degree off. Just tiny bit. That first hour, just a half a degree off. And then another hour in, just another half a degree in it. And it doesn't seem noticeable, but it's just a tiny bit. But 18 hours in, he doesn't end up in Singapore. He ends up in Russia. No clue how he got to Russia. Thinking that he's in Singapore, but he's in Russia. There are a lot of people out there on YouTube. They're best-selling authors. Man, they sound good. They really sound good. I'm telling you, they're charismatic. They're very intelligent. They can string a lot of really good sentences together. And they've got hundreds of thousands of people on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. They got millions of people. They wrote a lot of books. And everyone talks about them. Everyone loves them. They don't have a clue what they're talking about. And if that individual is not sitting in truth, if that individual is not a fully enlightened being, they cannot get you there. They can only take you as far as they've been. They cannot take you any further than where they've been. If they are not sitting in it, if they have not experienced it, no chance. None whatsoever. Ignorance begets more ignorance. Unfortunately, it sounds good. They look like they know what they're doing. They're sharp people. They went to college. Hell, they may even have a PhD in religious studies. They may even have read all the books, read the Gita. They've watched all the YouTube videos online. But they're just a fraction of a degree off. And that fraction of a degree is not noticeable at the beginning. But you do this for a couple weeks. You keep reading these things. You keep following these people a couple months in. And that fraction of a degree is a couple degrees. And then you're a couple years in and you're full born. You're 2 feet in listening to this person. You believe it's the truth and you believe they're going to get you there. Weeks and months and years add up. and you are nowhere near where you want to be. And unfortunately, you actually think you're exactly where you need to be. If you just want to feel better, there are an ungodly amount of people out there that are going to give you a Band-Aid and they're going to make you feel better. There's a lot of, when it comes to constructs and the mind and the way we think, there are a lot of people out there who are addicted. They're alcoholics to what's going on in the brain. And there's a lot of teachers out there that will gladly pour you another drink. If you want someone to get you to the top of the mountain, to get you past those constructs, to get you to that point of peace, because there is absolutely zero peace in the mind. Zero. The mind is finite, and anything finite is duality. It is going to cause division. There's nothing in the mind that will not cause division. It is always, everything at the level of the mind will always be a Catholic and an atheist, and both sides are always going to think they're right. Anything in the mind is causing division. If you want someone to get you to that ultimate peace, to that ultimate top of the mountain, to full-blown enlightenment, and I don't use that lightly, enlightenment, self-realized, seeing things how they are, top of the mountain, you better make damn sure the people you're listening to, the books you're reading, the YouTube videos you're watching, and the individuals who are helping guide you better be sitting in truth. They better have tasted the apple, and they better be tasting the apple currently, or they are going to misguide you. And at the front, at the beginning, it won't seem gravely. It won't be that big a deal. It'll just be a little bit off. But a little, plus a little, plus a little, over weeks, over months, over years, you end up nowhere near where you're supposed to be. And what's even worse, you're going to actually think you're headed down the right path. Make damn sure the people you're listening to are sitting in truth. And currently, there are a very small group of people truly sitting in truth.